Hello everyone, welcome back to another report on the channel. Disclaimer, I have a sore throat, so my voice will not be high quality as it usually is. What is Bohemian Grove? Bohemian Grove is a place in the woods in California where really elite, powerful, commanding people of this world gather and, well, worship an owl statue. And they also commit very homosexual acts towards one another. And it is also said that they sacrifice actual children at an altar in front of this owl statue. I have yet to see proof of that, but I have seen footage of something, a humanoid figure covered in sheets being brought to the altar, which we will see later in the video. I will now be showing you clips from Joe Rogan's YouTube channel. It features Alex Jones, who previously took secret footage of the rituals inside of Bohemian Grove.
No, I'm saying if you go back to like the 1870s when Mark Twain set up, it was classically liberal. It was partying. It was their own 27 acres. It was saloons. They brought in female hookers. There was gay guys in there. Everything. It was Bohemian Groves, what they called it that, because people did whatever they wanted. And it was open, and they had like poetry and they had plays and they had all the rest of it. Then. By the time of Howard Taft became president, the Republicans basically bought it. So the reason it's important is the Republicans go there to, like, they ship in all these private hookers, all these jets land nearby, but they also have a lot of gay sex, which they use then to basically compromise people into the cult. And so there's a lot of gay sex.
How do you know this?
It came out in news articles. No one ever got footage of it. I was in there for one day. I snuck in. I looked good back then. They hit on me a lot. I had people I recognized from TV walking around. Hey, let's go right now. I mean, it's a big gay hookup deal for Republicans. I'm just telling you what it is. And then they've got this ritual that's only the feeder group. So I'm sitting there during the ritual, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. The dude goes, shut up, I'll kill you. And they're all taking it very seriously. And I'm not saying it's a gay thing. I'm saying that some of that goes on there.
You were saying it was cool and people were getting angry that you were saying
No, I mean, I was just quietly going, oh, this is really interesting. And they're like, shut up, this is a very important ritual. And they were taking it very serious. This hearse comes in with the body of a child. It is an effigy. They're not killing it.
And it's just a bundle of sticks, right?
Yeah, well, it looks like a kid. No, later, others infiltrated later that worked there and got us photos of it. It's an image of a kid. It's a little kid.
Because Moloch in biblical is who they sacrifice the Canaanite.
It's a bull, but they do it as an owl. But
they do it as an owl, yeah. But that's from the Bible, is you would sacrifice a child to Moloch.
Give not your children to the fires of Moloch.
The origins of the club. How did it start and what was it like? We will be reading the Annals of the Bohemian Club. It was published by the Bohemian Club themselves, and it was published in around 1890 through 1900. One of the first pages in the book says, "To our tutelary deity, the ancient bird of wisdom, the owl, this book is reverently and affectionately inscribed." Yeah, they definitely worship this owl. Chapter 1. In the year of our Lord, 1872, there were in the city of San Francisco, as in other cities, certain men who made their living by the practice of the arts. These men, writers, painters, musicians, and actors, drawn together by similarity of tastes, met, as occasion served, at each other's rooms, or studios, or as was most frequently the case, in subterranean places where beer was sold at a bit the glass, and the drinking of it enlivened by an orchestra and vocalists. These places were much like Thackeray's Cave of Harmony, for it was customary for the guests to send the performers complimentary glasses, and to assist the performance at intervals with their own tuneful voices. After midnight, when the morning papers went to the press, the company at these places would be augmented by a glad rout of newspapermen just out of bondage. Then would there be a stir among the waiters, bearing trays of mighty sandwiches and bologna sausage, and cheese, and huge schooners of beer to these hungry midnight toilers, who each and all had a good story or a song clamoring at their teeth. Sometimes these gatherings were at the studios, at Mr. Wansford's delightful home, for instance, where the guests were mostly artists and the talk mostly of art, from which many a young bachelor, returning to his bare room, swore in his beard that he too would turn Benedict just as soon as the sordid world did homage and gold coin to his genius. Then again, these bachelor artists, clubbing together, would give an entertainment in some dingy studio, made wildly, barbarically splendid for the occasion. The favorite location of these studios was generally on the top floor of some sinister-looking house in the Latin Quarter, where the odor of sour wine and the babble of Latin tongues, the darkness of the streets at night, and the proximity of the Barbary coast all tended to make the going to and coming from the party quite an adventure. But the fun that was developed on these occasions was worth the risk of a broken head or stolen purse. Nor were the journalists behindhand in these social occasions. Nothing, for instance, could be more delightful than the Sunday breakfasts, of which a chosen few were invited to partake, at the home of Mr. James F. Bowman, the editorial writer. Beginning at 12, it was usually 4 before the guests adjourned to the parlor, where someone, possibly a pale slender youth by the name of Charles Warren Stoddard, would play something on the piano, suitable to tea and twilight. The artists at these gatherings were in the habit, while the talk went on, of drawing pictures on the tablecloth, all of which Mrs. Bowman loyally saved until she had an art gallery of tablecloths, but none for domestic purposes. Then she tried the experiment of putting pens and indelible ink on the table with the new cloths, in order that they might go to wash and still preserve their art treasures. But for some reason the artist did not take readily to the new medium, perhaps because it lacked spontaneity. One declared that they were not wash drawings, and another that the starch made them unnaturally stiff, pale reflections of the humor of the day. These were the men, then, who gladly but infrequently met prior to the year mentioned, and by reason of the infrequency of these meetings arose the proposition to form a club. We have not the temerity to say who originated the idea, even if we thought we knew. Most probably it originated simultaneously in many minds. At any rate, the proposition was often advanced and invariably greeted with enthusiasm, matters even going so far, at times, as the calling of a meeting in social guise to put the project into shape. These meetings were always a great success as regards enjoyment. Vigorous speeches were made, motions put and seconded, and preambles and resolutions drawn up in fine style, after which everybody went away well satisfied, so entirely satisfied, in fact, that their all further efforts ended. Moreover, about this time the Art Association was founded, and this diverted some of the zeal of the painters, giving them, as it did, a sort of gathering place where they could talk of their craft. And so the cause of the club seemed like to die. But at this critical moment, certain newspaper men came to its rescue, and determined to consummate their long-cherished plan, the scope of which was pointedly altered to include only journalists. Mr. Daniel O'Connell of the Bulletin, known to the world later on as the author of Lyrics and other books, Mr. Sands W. Foreman, Mr. Joseph N. H. Irwin of the Examiner, then an evening journal, Mr. Thomas Newcomb of the Call, and Mr. James F. Bowman of the Chronicle, were the active spirits in the enterprise, and they, together with Mr. Frederick Whymper and F. G. Kinney, met at the Examiner editorial rooms on February 5th, 1872, and there took the first steps toward the formation of the Bohemian Club. And this was the beginning, and thus may these gentlemen be regarded as the leaders of the great movement, the Moses and Co., as it were, who led the art tribes out of the Egyptian land of commerce into the promised land of Bohemia, although, like all great prophets and reformers, they did not know the extent of their following, nor the real meaning of the procession, nor how, in its triumphal progress, delighting and amazing all who beheld it, it would gather to itself untold treasures of wit and wisdom, even as the emperors of ancient Rome in their triumphal progress used to gather in all they could lay their hands on. But of this more in the next chapter. The following segment of the book, The Bohemian Jinx, by Porter Garnett, is about the beginning of the Bohemian Grove. In the beginning, it was on Saturday, June 29th, 1878, that something less than 100 members of the Bohemian Club, which had been in existence for 6 years, conducted in the woods near Taylorville, Sonoma County, California, the first midsummer hijinks. This festivity was hardly more than a nocturnal picnic arranged for the purpose of bidding farewell to Mr. Henry Edwards, better known as Harry Edwards, actor, entomologist, and sometime president of the club. The camp was without many comforts, but the campers were well supplied with the traditional Bohemian spirit, the factors of which are intellect, taste, conviviality, self-indulgence, and the joy of life. They were also provided with blankets to keep them warm and a generous supply of liquor for the same purpose. The decorations consisted of a modest quantity of Japanese lanterns. Although extremely unpretentious, the affair, according to the testimony of the old guard, was none the less enjoyable. From this small beginning has grown, in the course of 31 years, the impressive ceremony which now takes place every summer in the club's own grove near Guerneville, on the Russian River. This grove consists of 240 acres of forest land, which became the property of the club by purchase in 1899. It is situated 75 miles from San Francisco and is reached by 2 railroads, one of which has its terminus 4 miles from the grove, to which, on the occasion of the Bohemian encampment, a special train is run, and the other passes a station that is less than 1 mile distant from the club property. A few prominent names have been associated with the Bohemian Grove. For instance, Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon, Herbert Hoover, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush. Other notable people are Conan O'Brien, Clint Eastwood, Chris O'Donnell, Henry Kissinger, Paul Newman, Charles B. Johnson, Michael Bloomberg, Eric Schmidt, James A. Baker III, Edwin Meese III, Clarence Thomas, Stanley B. Prusiner, Alexei V. Filippenko. There is also a video out there of Richard Nixon giving a description of the Bohemian Grove.
But it isn't just down in the ratty part of town, but the upper class in San Francisco is that way. The Bohemian Grove that I attend from time to time, the Easterners and the others that come there, but it is the most faggy goddamn thing you will ever imagine in San Francisco crowd, because it's just terrible. I mean, I never want to shake hands with anybody in San Francisco.
There are numerous YouTubers out there that have snuck into the Bohemian Grove and successfully captured footage of what they found. The YouTuber we will be watching is Dancer. He has footage of one of their rituals, and he was able to get a close-up shot of the owl statue they worship.
Is one of my buddies in there? No way, they're sacrificing. They might be sacrificing one of the people they caught sneaking into the grove. Yeah. This is the owl statue.
That is Bohemian Grove. It is a very evil, satanic place of worship. It is said in the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verses 2 through 5, "You shall also say to the sons of Israel, any man from the sons of Israel, or from the sojourners sojourning in Israel, who gives any of his seed to Moloch, shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I will also set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given some of those who are his seed to Moloch, so as to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. If the people of the land, however, should ever turn a blind eye to that man when he gives any of those who are his seed to Moloch, so as not to put him to death, then I myself will set my face against that man and against his family, and I will cut off from among their people both him and all those who play the harlot after him. and playing the harlot after Moloch. In the Israel law, that is what one would do if someone were caught giving his seed to Moloch, giving his children to Moloch. May we pray for those who attend Bohemian Grove, and may God bless them, and may God bless you guys. I hope you guys have a good one.